Greetings. Welcome to First Shots. Well, I guess I've done about 18 videos now. I've had a number of comments and a lot of responses, particularly to one video, so I thought I would respond to some of those comments. Now, I've responded to many of them directly on the videos, but I'll respond to them all here as a Q&A format, just so everybody can get the benefit of them. So one of my early videos was what gun should I buy, and Backpfeifengesit, I hope I pronounced that right, sounds very German, said a Glock 19 is not the only right answer, but it is always a right answer. And I would agree with that. If you're going to buy a gun, if you're going to buy a new gun, you would be very hard pressed to do bad with a Glock. Now, I personally don't like how they shoot in my hands. I've never actually shot the 19. Maybe I should try it out. I do not like the 17, which is very similar. And I don't like, honestly, I don't like most of the Glocks that I have fired. The one I actually did like was a subcompact 45, of all things. Which, you know, a double stack 45 caliber with very large hands, that kind of makes sense. But most Glocks, I don't like how they fit in my hands. But you would not be ill-advised to go check out a Glock 19 and see if you like it. So yes, Glock 19 is not always the answer, but yes, it is always an answer to that question. Crow T Robot 1977. To the same video, the American 180, best home defense gun. Yeah, sure, if you're familiar with how to use a fully automatic machine gun, sure. Most people, I would say, are not terribly familiar with Class 3 weapons, and so a stream of 22 caliber lead firing out at, what is that thing? I think it's like 1,400 rounds per minute. Yeah, I mean, a veritable river of 22 caliber lead flying out through your through your drywall is probably not the best thing. Not safe for your neighbors, especially if you're in an apartment. So I would go with probably something more in a semi-automatic 9mm if you're going to go, or if you're going to go with a something in a rifle format like the American 180. Probably an AR. Would be a better bet. If you wanted something in 22 caliber, maybe a Ruger 1022 would be a good choice. The American 180 is also extremely expensive because it is Class 3, and therefore getting one requires you to get all kinds of you know, tax stamp. It's got to be registered. Yeah, it's probably not your best option. Same person, in response to my video about body armor and what you need to know about steel body armor, asked what about non-Newtonian fluid body armor? And if you're not aware of what a non-Newtonian fluid is, basically it reacts the opposite of water. When it gets hit with something hard, it basically when it gets hit with something hard, it gets hard. It gets it basically turns to ice under pressure. That's the best way I can describe what a non-Newtonian fluid is. And so if it gets hit with a bullet, the fluid actually gets very, very rigid and stops the bullet, just like steel, just like ceramic plate, and then goes back, after the pressure is released, goes back to being a fluid. The military is experimenting with this. I don't know a whole lot about it. But I know that the DARPA is spending a lot of money on it, so there must be something there. Whether or not it's actually practical, certainly not something that is going to be available on the civilian market in the next probably 10 or 15 years, maybe not even 20. So I wouldn't be looking at that right now. Really, your options today are Kevlar soft plates. I saw one guy on YouTube show how to make pretty reasonably good, I would say probably Class 3 level body armor out of fiberglass and resin. That was interesting to watch. I may try that myself one day. Steel, ceramic, Kevlar, maybe some of that homebrew stuff, but non-Newtonian fluids, you've got a little time yet before that's available. Joe M. asked on the same question, what about expiration dates for body armor plates? The expiration date for steel body armor is when you see rust. So if you pull your plate out of your PCV or your other carrying device, and you see that it is turning brown or red or bright orange, that's a problem. If it's just kind of flash rust, it's probably okay. But if you really start to see it cake on and take on that three-dimensional kind of look that some really advanced rust takes, your body armor's probably been compromised. Likewise, if it's got like that Rhino Shield coating or one of those other advanced polymer coatings on it, if you start seeing that there's rust coming through that, there's some serious problems underneath. Some water got in under your shielding, and you probably need to replace that thing. It's just reality of the situation. You don't want to be wearing rusty body armor. It's probably compromised at that point. As far as ceramics, similar thing. It doesn't really expire. Yeah, theoretically, the ceramic can delaminate and do some other stuff over time, and maybe, you know, the more you move it around and stuff, the greater the likelihood is you're going to chip it and crack it and stuff like that. But really, it doesn't have a true expiration date. That's more lawyers doing anything than any actual engineering purpose, at least within the timescales of what you and I as human beings are going to live. Now, if you've got your body armor and your great-great-great-grandson decides he wants to put it on, that might be a little bit more of a problem. As long as the steel and ceramic is most of the time kept in a normal circumstance, like, you know, you're kept inside unless you're actually wearing it, you know, and stored properly and away from moisture and away from excessive heat and away from excessive cold, then it's probably going to survive for a very, very long time. So the expiration date is lawyers, not reality. A lot of people commented on my score found ammo video. Things about, they wanted to know what the price was, and the fact of the matter is the price has been steadily going up along with everything else. At the time I recorded that video, I got mine for $150 for 500 rounds. Shortly thereafter, somebody else bought some from them for $175 for 500 rounds. I think they're now up to $200 for 500 rounds the last time I checked. And I've not been able to get there in time in the morning to actually buy any ammo. I've gotten there, you know, maybe 40 minutes after they sold their last box, or I got there and they didn't have any that day. They are struggling for primers especially. That's like the big thing right now is primers. But also for powder and brass in order to make bullets, just like everybody else says. People wanted to know about, they are reloads. They're a combination of reloads and new brass. And most of the stuff's going to be reloads from them. They do have new brass when they need to, but they are basically making the brass right there in the back of the shop 6 days a week. So somebody mentioned their website doesn't say they have anything or that they're out of stock, and yeah, they have variable stock and their website doesn't cover anything because if they've got it, they're usually selling it out in a couple hours. So under normal circumstances, would they ship it to you in Montana? Sure. Today, right now, what they don't have enough to be able to sell what they're selling right there in the retail stores. So trying to ship it to Montana, Oregon, Texas, whatever, yeah, they're pretty much out of stock on that. Just basically your plus P loads and you know, if it's critical defense or critical duty or one of those hot stuff rounds, they're probably not going to keep it in stock. It's going to sell out very, very quickly. Some of the other stuff that they're selling, you know, soft nose, you know, Remington green box, if they get some of that stuff in, green and white box, yeah, they're going to have some of that on their website, but it's going to be very, very limited stock. And 9mm, they're going to go through like that. So it's just the reality of the situation we're in right now. You got to look everywhere. A friend of mine posted a picture yesterday. It was he had several boxes of Winchester green and white box in 223, as well as Winchester red box in 9mm, and he found it at Academy Sports, and he got there at 9 a.m. at Academy Sports. They had it in stock, and he bought the shelf. Previously, he had found the black and white box of 9mm, just a shelf full of them, and I texted him back and said, "Buy the whole shelf." And of course, he texted me back and said, "Have you met me?" Anyway, he's a good guy. Large Larry said that he went to a pawn shop and found 1,221 rounds of 22 LR for $55. And I have a feeling that pawn shop owner was really pissed that he didn't go through his stock and make sure he repriced all of his ammunition, because that was a steal under any circumstances, especially today. You know, I didn't do the math on that, but $55, okay, so it's probably a little excessive under normal conditions. But since COVID started, $55 for 1,221 rounds of anything is a pretty good price. Manny Scoots asked if I had heard anything about the U.S. Army deploying 4 divisions to Taiwan. No, I am not in the United States military. I have never served myself. My brother retired as an 03 captain from the National Guard, but that doesn't mean I have any insight into what we're doing. I do know that Taiwan at present does not have a very large United States military presence. All of the United States military protecting Taiwan is pretty much around the country by agreement with the communist Chinese. Basically, we don't station troops there, and they don't invade. That's kind of the agreement that we have. And although China has been provoking things lately, so but that's all from press reports. I don't know anything about United States military troop deployments. I am not included in the United States military command structure. Yeah, no, sorry, can't help you. And finally, last question. So this is pretty quick. Connie Lingus, cute name. Basically saying that they found 9mm at Ammo Land, and it was basically almost double what they had paid just 3 weeks before. And yeah, that's, once again, that's the nature of the situation we're in. So many people are so desperate for ammunition that they are buying anything and everything they can find. And that just means that, you know, it's a simple case of supply and demand. It's what our capitalist economy is built on. If there's not enough available to meet the demand for all the people who want it, the price goes up. And if there's an excess, the price goes down. That's capitalism. That's reality. That's economics. Anybody who tells you that there's anything on earth where that doesn't apply is either lying to you or stupid. And I can say that because I do actually have a degree in that. So, that is the reality of the world. People, you know, when somebody says, "Oh, well, health insurance, regular economics doesn't apply to health insurance." Yes, it does. Regular economics doesn't apply to labor. Yes, it does. Regular economics doesn't apply to ammunition. Abso-freaking-lutely it does. All right, supply and demand is called a law because it's inviolable. It's like the law of gravity. All right, this is how things work. And so there are too many people who want ammo. There aren't enough places making it. Hopefully they're investing in making more capacity to make ammo. Or the situation is going to change. Maybe the riots will stop. Maybe the election will do something. I'm not counting on that. But in any event, hopefully people will eventually have enough ammo where they're like, okay, I don't need any more. Or the situation will change, like, okay, I've got enough ammo. And people will stop just stockpiling the stuff and buying it wherever they find it. So, until that happens, you're going to see prices going up until people just can't afford it. And that's just how it is. And that sucks. Especially if you're on a limited budget, or if you're really into competitive shooting, any of that kind of thing. You know, I'm just getting into competitive shooting, and now I might have to take a hiatus from competitive shooting because I can't find ammo. And, you know, or I can't find it at a price I'm willing to pay anyway. I can find it, sure. I can go on AmmoLand and pay $2 a round for 9mm. I can go on AmmoSeek and 67 cents for 223, and that's if you're buying in a 1,000 round bulk. Okay, well, I don't have that kind of money, and yeah, so that's the reality of the situation that we're in today. That's why it's so important to follow Able, always be looking everywhere, to be looking out for your friends and have your friends looking out for you. So anyway, that's my first Q&A video. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I hope it was informative for you. I hope it wasn't boring. If you like this kind of content, remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and hit that notification button so that you can get future videos. In the meantime, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay safe. I'll see you at the range.